Hello, assalamu alaikum. Today's video, the topic of that is with regards British citizen children that are born overseas, and the question that we often asked is whether you should be applying for a British passport for the child that is born overseas, or whether you should make an alternative application known as a certificate of entitlement to the right of abode, which I will refer to as a COE from here on. Firstly, I should make clear that not all children born to British parents overseas are automatically British, but for those that are automatically British, and it generally tends to be the children of parents, one of whom was born in the UK or who have naturalised, but there may be other categories of children who are automatically British, but you should get some specific advice about that. So the big question that we're often asked is how I should go about applying for a child born overseas. And often the assumption is that the only option is to make an application for a British passport. And in my experience, my firm's experience, often applying for a British passport is very cumbersome, a very lengthy process, and a very frustrating process. And so we generally advise clients not to make applications for British passports for British children that are born overseas in the subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or third world countries in Africa, because of the way that the international section of the Passport Office deals with applications from those countries. So first things first, the legal requirements to get a COE or a British passport are exactly the same. So you need to prove that the child is actually a British citizen by descent. And the main differences are practical in terms of the process. The documentation that you need to provide with these applications is exactly the same. The main differences are that you would need to get a national passport for the child. So if the child's born in Pakistan, for example, you would need to get a Pakistani passport in order to make an application for a COE for the child. Essentially what you would be applying for is a sticker, a stamp in the passport which confirms that the child is a British citizen and has the right of abode in the UK. And the other main difference is in terms of fees. The passport application fee for a British child born overseas for a passport is around £100, whereas the COE fee is £550. And although the fee is substantially more, in our experience, it really is worth pursuing COE applications as opposed to British passport applications because of the frustrating process and the way that the international section of the Passport Office deals with these applications. So why do we advise clients to go for COEs as opposed to British passports when British passport fees are much cheaper than COE applications? And it's really to do with the timescale and the frustration of the process that's involved with getting a British passport for a child born overseas. Firstly, typically in our experience, it takes anywhere between 6 to 12 months to get a British passport for a child born overseas, and often it's nearer the 12-month timescale. And in terms of the process, and I've talked about this, of how frustrating it often is, the Passport Office have a habit of repeatedly asking for the same documentation again, and it almost seems as though that the whole purpose of that is to frustrate you and to put you off in terms of pursuing the application for your child. And compared to that, the COE process is much more smoother, much more straightforward. You make the application online, you upload the same supporting documents once, and that's it. And typically you get a decision within a month or so. So although there is a much higher cost involved with that, it is stress-free, it's quick, and generally we found that clients really appreciate having done this, especially if they've previously had an experience of making an application for a child to get a passport from overseas. So once your child has got the COE and travels to the UK, getting a passport from within the UK for that child will be very easy, very straightforward, in the normal way that you would make any passport application in the UK. And typically the process for that is 2 or 3 weeks, and that's a much better way of having the application dealt with. Apply for a COE from overseas, and once the child's here, then apply for a British passport in the normal way, rather than wasting 9 months, a year of the child's life overseas whilst waiting for a passport to be issued from there, and getting frustrated with the whole process. And I should also mention that if you are applying for a partner from overseas at the same time, then it lines up much better together, because the COE is dealt with within a month, and typically spouse applications take 2 or 3 months to process. The parent and child can travel together, whereas if you applied for a spouse visa, that if that's dealt with in 2 or 3 months, but the British passport isn't then issued for 9 months to a year, your partner will be forced to travel, leaving the child behind, and then possibly returning to collect the child, and that's a difficult process, and not many parents want to be separated from their child in those circumstances. If you require any support and assistance with any application, then please feel free to contact our office. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and share this.